Hello everybody, welcome back. So on popular demand, let's have a look at Eos, shall we? And I say popular demand, I suppose it's always been a very divisive coin, this one. And one that worked out to a small extent. It wasn't the 10, 20, 30, 40, X that we're used to, or that we got used to on this channel. It was, I suppose, an underperformer. And it was always going to be, and I suppose from the outset, that we're not looking, I'm not saying that Eos was ever going to be the best coin in the world. The only thing I was saying at the time was that, look, this is an obvious place to be buying in the accumulation phase, and that worked out in the end. I mean, it did work out to a decent extent. So let's just say, straight through the middle, let's just say the average price was around $3 that we bought from. We managed to harvest from bottom to the top about a 400% move. Now, obviously, you all know that I didn't sell the whole lot. I sold my first major exit point was at this level, and I suppose you might think, oh, of course you're going to say that, but I mean, it was all there on the. I said it. It's all there to be said. But the way that I take my profit is always in 25% batches, and it's a constant 25% batch that I take. So essentially, what that meant for me is that I took my profit, my investment came out plus doubled, and the rest of it was left riding, to the point where I'm now feeling like I should curl up in a ball and cry because it's completely wrecked. Now, let's have a look at what this actually means. So we have one thing in our favour, only slightly, and I'm talking about. I am literally splitting hairs. You know how I always say we should never play signals until they're confirmed. Well, this might be one of those opportunities where we just think, well, who cares if the signal's confirmed at the moment? It's wrecked. And that is the conversion baseline Ichimoku cloud on the weekly. So as most of you are aware, I was buying into this accumulation phase around here, and then we started to pump and got very excited, and then it dumped. Then I checked the weekly and I saw that we had a conversion baseline cross here, suggesting we're going to have continuation of a trend. The trend will begin from here. So I bought more after this dump, and it did work out quite well until obviously a couple of months ago, where it didn't work. Now this signal here says the trend will continue until it tells you to exit. Now the trend will only tell you to exit if we get a Chiku span touch the price action, or we have the negative cross here, so the blue cross the red. Now none of those have actually happened. So surprisingly, what this means is that this trend is still in play. Now obviously, a signal is a signal, and what am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to do at this point? Hold on to it? Well, I am going to hold on to it anyway, you know that, because I've already taken my profit on it, the profit I'm willing to take. But do I expect this trend to continue right now? No, I don't. But I always feel unreasonably drawn to Eos for some reason, and I'm not a fundamental type person, but there is something quite large brewing in the distant future, which is that bullish exchange. Now, what that will do to the price for Eos, I don't know. It'll probably be a pump and dump type vibe, as the exchange says they've got a release date, and then they gear it up, and day by day people buy into EOS, and that will probably have an effect. But the day it goes live, I will imagine that it's probably going to drop off the edge of a cliff, like EOS, like the way it likes to do. Do you know what I mean? So there is always that in the back of my mind. So, but again, that's hopium that I'm feeding myself amongst this chart. But if I wanted to buy more of this, which I'm not suggesting anybody does, but if I were to do it, I really do have to start to look at the lows at this point now. The way that it's going and the way that the Bitcoin dominance chart looks like it wants to go, I do have to entertain the idea that we could be coming down to some significant lows. EOS's favourite area, which is a very strong zone of support. And I mean, it's very strong. Very strong. When you think about this, how this has behaved. So this was 2018, and this is where the market more or less bottomed, and then it did have a nice big run on its own, and then followed the rest of the market. Did all the way up to almost $9, and then dropped right back down to pretty much its lows. Bounce. But there's so many bounces. I'm not going to bore you to death with all the bounces, but there is a lot of support around this zone. So if I was trying to be clever, what I would think about doing it would be to try and front run that for the inevitable tag of that zone, where we will probably get a significant bounce from that low. just from the low, a significant bounce from that low. So we'll be talking about, you know, this is a nice bounce here. This is 138% bounce. This is a nice bounce here. This is a obviously not as much, but it's a 70-80% bounce. So I think that it's reasonable to assume that if we do come down to there, we'll definitely get a good reaction from there. But is this going to continue onto another trend now? I think what's going to happen here is there's probably going to be a lot of down at these low levels, messing around down here for a long period of time. The bullish exchange might help it to an extent, but overall, this trend, even though it's not been confirmed to come to an end, it's more or less ended, hasn't it? And let's just face it. There's nothing about this chart which is bullish at all, and if anything, it's one of those examples which is quite rare of an Ichimoku cloud failing to give me a good exit point. Anyway, I'm going to leave it with you there, and I'll see you on the live stream tonight for those Patreon users. And thanks for watching. Take it easy.